look skinny. I like that.
You are skinny.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're
yeah.
svelte. You're tall.
I like it.
It's the bald head.
It
doesn't.
I don't like the bald head, but it is what it is.
I got to embrace it.
Yeah.
So anyhow, welcome to Merritt in the morning, in the afternoon. He's your host, 30-year state senator Jim Merritt. I'm Brad Klopfenstein, president of the Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce, and a couple other things. Our guest this week, Coach Dan Dakich.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
thank you for being here.
Yeah.
But Dan, before we get to you, we got to get to important stuff. Sorry, not to say you're not important.
God, no. Oh, I didn't.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
You got to get to the Cavs.
Exactly. So we have a live studio audience here. So
there you go.
So we're coming to you this week. We're back at the Ale Emporium, Jim. They're great hosts. We love this room. We're in the new room.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't usually love bars, but I love this bar.
I don't know. I've loved bars since before I could legally go into bars. So Jim, I don't know what's wrong with you. Probably that time in the Senate. That time in the Senate ruined you.
Yeah.
So we want to thank our sponsors, Stockyards Bank and Trust, locations at 71st and Binford, Carmel, downtown Indianapolis, Plainfield, Greenwood, and Center Grove should open anytime now.
Paul!
Thank you, Paul Lamone, for your sponsorship and your support, continued support.
Mm-hmm.
We also want to thank the Honey Baked Ham Company.
There's Calbs.
The Calbs are
all
awesome.
over the place.
They are all over. In fact, they're in our live studio audience right now. So,
well, Felicia's the
manager.
Mm-hmm.
Which location is she at?
She is at the what I would call the Westfield, but it's Westfield, but they call it
Westfield Carmel,
mm-hmm.
141st and Greyhound Pass,
mm-hmm.
right there in front of Menards.
Yes.
So when you're getting your tools, go grab yourself a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Also at 96th in Michigan, Jim, they've got some new stuff. They have non-ham. They have a new California veggie sandwich.
Well, when I dropped in there and did a little video, I couldn't believe they had chocolate cake in the refrigerator, and they had barbecue, and you know how much I love the honey mustard.
The honey mustard
I love
by
the
the
honey
case.
mustard. Oh yeah.
Don't steal it by the case in your case. So, and they also have a new chef salad.
Oh,
so go in there. They're open for lunch and dinner.
Mm-hmm.
You can eat in, carry out. They've got everything you need. So, all right. Now on with the show. Dan Dakich.
Dan Dakich.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, the pride of Andrean High School, I understand.
You know what he's famous for?
Basketball.
No, he's the brother of Tom.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Hi, Tom
I
Dakich.
think Tom's in charge of the lottery. I think that the new governor made him gave him. He's on the transition team with the Department of Commerce, and I think he's handling some of the lotteries.
Yeah, he's a good friend.
So he'll be able to tell us how rigged it is?
Well, I don't think he would like to tell, but I think, I asked him the other day, and he got mad at me. I said, well, where's all the money go? He said, look, the lottery has done a great job of telling you where the money is going. You just haven't paid attention.
Well, that's
and he's
true.
probably right. So there you go.
89% of it is outsourced, and so most of it is not government. But it's a great lottery, and I'm glad Tom Dakich has something to do with it. And I'm also remembering when he came to lobby me when he was working with his telecommunications company.
Yeah.
So Tom is, you know what? I was playing golf last summer at our club, Old Oakland, and all of a sudden this really pretty woman was playing in back of me and just wailing the ball. I mean, just hitting the ball.
Yeah.
And so I was on 7 and she was coming 6, and she came down that hill, and she introduced herself as Lee Ross
Dakich.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she can hit a golf ball. She was an
She's
All-American.
much more a better half than you.
I tell her every day, thanks for marrying me. I don't
The
know what
lovely
you're-
Lee Ross.
Yeah, a lovely Lee Ross, LLRD, we call her on the air.
It's Klopp. I don't mean to dominate here.
No, dominate all you want. I just say, you guys could be sitting with a $35 million
There
heir.
you
Well, you
go.
won't be sitting next time with us.
Oh,
will you?
Taxes will get you. You get about 18.
There's gonna be you'll never know that I won, but there will be something.
Maybe be a sponsor.
Yeah, exactly. I start sponsoring, and suddenly I've got a gold chain, and
Yeah.
Now
lots of velvet.
you have a show,
Mhm.
Outkicked,
Yeah.
from 9 to 11,
Yeah.
and then you're on 1430 from 12 to 3.
Yeah. I do.
And I think one of the reasons we wanted you beyond it is because I think we've lost you a little bit. And so I want
Yeah.
everybody to know exactly where you are.
Yeah, I left when they made me make a decision. It's kind of funny when when Jeff Smullian sold to Radio One or Urban One, I knew my time was not long there, and they made me make a choice. Outkick is a more conservative. It's the fastest growing sports website in the country. It's the fastest growing streaming service in sports in the country.
How do we find it?
Just go to outkick.com.
So it streams?
Yeah, and it streams. And then we have our YouTube channel has a couple million people that follow it. So they put stuff up there. And they made me make a choice, and I said, well, I did radio here in town for 14 years. That's enough. I'm not leaving Outkick. It was a great gig. And so I started there, left 107.5, and then I had a year non-compete. And after that, 1430 had been pretty much a dormant station here.
Absolutely.
It's a CBS affiliate. And they asked me if I wanted to, come back. I said, sure. So I do it from noon to 3. It's really grown. It's the most downloaded show in Indiana. And we just won this past year. We're the sports talk show of the year in the state of Indiana. And so, yeah, I mean, it's been great, and it's been a lot of fun. And both companies are Outkick's great. Outkick's best team I've ever been on sports or whatever. They're just fantastic. And bought by Fox News. Fox News came in, built me a home studio.
Wow.
And get up every morning, turn everything on. I have a team of about 6 people, and it's going good.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
Did you do the radio show from your house too?
No, I
Yeah,
go,
so you go to
right
the
over
studio?
here. In
Yeah.
fact, that's why I was a little late. Shadeland is insane here with 82nd, and it's down Shadeland a little bit off 82nd.
Oh, I know where it is.
Yeah, it's right where WFMS and a
Right.
bunch of others are.
Mhm.
So we'll go in there. They build a studio for us. My producer Jonathan and I, we do 3 hours, and it's pretty good. I like it. Then I go to Old Oakland and play golf.
So growing up in the region, did you ever think you were going to be a broadcaster?
Yeah, I like broadcasting. I did. I was one of those that I knew who broadcasters were. I liked it. I majored in it at IU. I studied it. So yeah, and when I was in coaching at Bowling Green for 10 years, I had a show that was on Fox Ohio, and it got pretty popular. And Fox National picked it up for a little bit they would take segments of it. And then when they hired Tom Crean at Indiana, and when I was the interim coach, Kent Sterling was running. It was a new. They took over 1070, and Kravitz and Eddie were the first show on there. And I called him because he told me, if you ever want to get into broadcasting, call me. And I literally called him when I was cleaning out my office at IU. And he goes, hey, it's a perfect opportunity. We're going to change from Colin Cowherd. We're going to start a local show. Come on in, Mark. Come on in and audition. So I auditioned, and they gave me the job. And it's funny. People can be so negative. They're like, well, you couldn't coach, so that's why you went into broadcasting. No, I went into broadcasting because I really like it. And I've had great people, and we developed a pretty good audience during that time, and got to work at ESPN, and so everything's great.
Well, we love this. We love radio. We love podcasting.
Yeah.
Now, when you were doing calling basketball games, one of the tactics that you did that I really liked was you would actually get out on the floor and demonstrate.
Yeah.
I think
I thought that was fascinating.
I
I,
thought
can't
that
believe
was
somebody else
pretty-
hasn't.
I've
got
never
brought
seen
that up.
anybody do it.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was, did you come up with that?
Yeah, they asked me. The best producer and the best director at ESPN are named Bart Fox, IU grad, and Scott Johnson, and they were there. I didn't know anything about doing TV, but they were my producer, my director. In fact, Bart is now the main. They hired him from ESPN to the Big Ten Network, and when they have a big game, he does it. And ESPN's #1 director for college football and basketball is still Scott. So ESPN asked us all to come up with something. So Billis does a walk and talk where he walks with somebody, and
That's before the game, though. I mean, is that,
yeah, it might be
that's
before the
during
game. Yeah, this was
you're in the game.
yeah. They came up with something that was like, look, in the game at the 11-minute, there's TV timeout at 16 and 12. At the 12-minute mark, we want to come up with something that you see. So we would brainstorm. I would give them something that I saw in scouting. Let's say Indiana runs a high-low for a big guy, whatever it was. When I saw it in the first half, we would clip it and we would rehearse it. We would go through it before, and then I'd get out on the court And sometimes it was a hassle because cheerleaders are out there, right? And
Oh, yeah. There's
Yeah.
Devin Mark in the second half. You got everybody running around
Right.
and everything.
That's why we knew when to do it. It was
Yeah.
always the least involved.
Traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
timeout was the 12-minute. They kind of stuck. So I'd come up with, and sometimes we had fun with it. Like there were two guys that were in my golf term. I do a golf term every year.
For bicycles.
Yes, and one of the prizes was an auction item was you come on the court with me during that segment. So two IU guys.
Yeah.
They still every year at the anniversary they'll send me the clip that
Yeah.
I said now this national TV, don't screw it up, right?
Mhm.
I mean it was. So we would do it. We had fun with it, but a lot of people said, Jim, what you said, that they kind of liked it.
It's new. It's different.
Yeah, it was different.
Tell us about the Tom Dakich golf outing and where the money goes.
Well, about
Tom Senior.
Tom Senior, my dad, yeah. We called it a memorial golf outing when he was still alive. We're like, my wife and I a few years ago, we were going to an event downtown. It was like this time at night, 6 o'clock, whatever. And we saw two kids on bikes and one was walking. And we started talking about it, right? Like how bikes influence, right? It's freedom, you go. And so we announced on our show, like, anybody that needs a bike, let me know and we'll try to get you a bike. So, remember that neighborhood that blew up south of Indy?
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
It was horrible, right?
Yeah.
So many horrible stories.
Mhm.
Well,
Richmond Hill?
Richmond Hill.
that was it.
Yeah. One of the teachers of one of the families of the kids who, wasn't just the house that blew up, it was the whole neighborhood.
Absolutely.
It was horrible. Well, guy got a hold of us and said, these two kids, they lost their home, they lost their bike, they're staying with relatives. I'm their teacher. Could you get a bike? So we're like, yeah, it turned out there was 3 kids. Lee and I, my wife, went to Target, just got them measured and whatever. And it kind of took off. And then through Emma's, we got hooked up with we were buying bikes, driving and giving them to them. And then all of a sudden the sports corp, which you're familiar with, who are the greatest people, like they bring
Ryan Vaughn.
Yes, Ryan got involved.
Yeah,
Yes,
his
Ryan.
left, yeah.
Yes, but when he got involved and his group got involved,
Mhm.
man, it really took off. And and then we
Yeah, I
started
remember
getting
listening to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so then it became this massive thing where we would get trucks and take them to schools, and it's called Dakich Cycles for the City. And Ryan moved on and it got too big for them. So my wife and I do it now. And what we do is we have a golf outing, and the golf outing, Ale Emporium, Scott, we were having our meeting and he hands me a $5,000 check. He goes, here you go. Ale's a sponsor.
Thanks.
So we're the only charity, guys. I swear to God, I'm looking right. If you know somebody that needs a bike, we got money. Like we're the only charity alive that has money. And so Tom Dakich golf outing is usually the second week in July, and every dime goes to this. We don't have a board of directors. We got a bunch of my buddies. We come in here. Brett Glaze is one, Brett, and we put it together and we have a great time.
Lots of celebrities that you can
we have a
beat.
good time. Yeah.
Where do you hold it?
It's over at GCI Golf Club of Indiana over, and Jeff Rubenstein is awesome. And I do my shows.
Is that over in Boone County?
Yeah, it's over right off of exit 130.
Yeah, it's not far from Zions of a White Stone.
Right across the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's and a lot of people got great sponsors. Ale's one of them, and actually the casino in Shelbyville, they're our main sponsor. And we just every dime goes. And like I said, we got money, man. If you know kids that need bikes, we're giving 2 to a friend of mine, Ari Underwood. He just beat cancer. He's 10 years old, and
Cool.
yeah, he and his sister. We can't wait to do that. So that's what we do.
Yeah, it's heartwarming.
Yeah.
So I want to ask, transitioning over to your broadcasting, and when you used to call games, you called games with a lot of top-notch guys.
Yeah.
Who were your favorites to work with?
It's got to be the guy with the Detroit Tigers now.
Benetti.
Benetti's got it.
Oh my God.
The banter.
I could listen to Benetti
Yeah,
for an
Guys
hour.
talk about going out to dinner.
Yeah. Benetti was funny. I got lucky.
He is really good.
He's really good.
Yeah.
And I knew. I remember the first time I worked with him. I didn't know him. I didn't know of his handicap. He's got cerebral palsy, and so
Yeah,
we
I
would
thought you were talking
laugh.
about golf.
No,
No.
one eye goes this way, one eye
had
goes
no
that.
idea.
Oh, and we make fun of him. I mean, we kill him. Like Benetti and I would meet up, and if we were in Minnesota and it was snowing, I'd say, all right, because he walks everything. He's such a courageous guy.
Oh my God.
mean, Benetti-
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. But I go, Benetti, and we're good friends, so I can say this. I'm like, it's a little snowy. It's wet. You're going to fall 2 times by the time we get to the dam. All right, I'll take that action. You know, that kind of thing. But Mike Tirico was great. It's one of the reasons when Outkick offered me the job, one of the reasons I left was because Tirico had left, Benetti had left. I knew he was leaving. And I love the people that I work with, but Bart Fox had left. All the guys, it used to be when we did a Tuesday night game, whether it was with Dave O'Brien, who's the Red Sox announcer, Tirico or Benetti, we couldn't wait to get to wherever we were going. Like if I was driving, I'd get in the car right after my show, and I'm there for
Family atmosphere.
Yeah, and the sideline, Sam Ponder, Allison Williams, Molly McGrath. We would have these dinners and laugh, and the director and the producer and the camera guys, and I mean,
No HR.
no. In fact, a guy with The Athletic was doing an article, a feature on me, and I think he thought that I was a jackass. I do. I think that was his impression. So I said, man,
So he went at it.
I thought he was gonna, and then he hung with
angle.
us. He was gonna, and then he like, well, this is freaking awesome. You know, because you read on Twitter, people don't like me, but if you go with me on a day, people are awesome. And so he's at this dinner, and I go, look, I mean, we're here to hang out. We're gonna drink some wine. We're drink some beers. Camera guy, you don't need. If you're gonna be a jackass, stay in the room because this is
Or off the record.
And he was great. Yeah, and he was great. But when those guys left, I was working. I didn't look forward to it. Like I like looking. My wife will tell me that I wake up every day and I'm never in a bad mood. Maybe on the air it seems like, but I'm never. And in fact, my guys at Outkick, when I'm always singing something, and I just like to be around that. And so when Outkick came, and I found out what that was really about, because I'm like, where are you at? What are you doing? And the money was really good. And then my guys at ESPN had left. I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. I don't have to travel. I remember during the pandemic, I did the last game on ESPN before the pandemic. We were in the Greensboro at the ACC tournament. And it was me and I forget who was my partner, Sean McDonough, who does games, hockey, all that.
Yeah.
So Sean and I and our whole crew, we're in a hotel at the ACC.
He did the IU Notre Dame.
He did. And Sean and everybody's saying, yeah, we're done. What are we talking about? Yeah, hey, I'm telling you, we're not doing a game tomorrow. So Billis was on the court. They were doing the afternoon. We were doing the night series. And all of a sudden, we're getting emails saying ACC tournament's been canceled. I'm like, wait a second.
They're playing.
They're on the court talking about pregame. No, I see teams go off, Billis goes off, and then it hit me like they wanted me to go to ESPN. And I would love going there. But I made up a lie. I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling great. I don't know if you want me to go.
I got this call.
Because I didn't want to go. And that kind of tells you, like, yeah, maybe I should look to do something else. And luckily I got with it.
Well, Outkick.
Yeah.
Are we doing sponsors?
Let's go to that. So you are watching Merritt in the Morning with our guest, Dan Dakich. You can hear him or see him on Outkick as well as
9/11.
9/11 and then noon to 3, 14:30 a.m.
Yeah.
For the Dan Dakich show. I should know this.
It's called Don't At Me in the
Don't
morning.
At Me. There you go.
Then the Dan Dakich show in the afternoon.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, you're welcome. So we want to thank the Honey Baked Ham Company. Jim, remember, veggie sandwiches and salads. It's spring and we all need to look good.
Yeah.
So
That ship sailed.
I'm looking at the picture. They put ample amounts of ham on that chef salad. So good for them. So they've got locations 96 in Michigan and Greyhound Pass in Carmel. And Mike Kalb, who's one of the owners, is sitting about 5 feet from us.
This is a true story. When my wife and I moved from Bloomington to Zionsville, I love honey baked ham. This is, swear to God, this isn't because you're here.
There's an unsolicited
First
testimony.
place we went. We were going, I don't know what we were doing. I go, let's go get a sandwich from the Honey Baked Ham store on 96 in Michigan. It's in that little strip mall with the McDonald's and all that stuff. Swear to God. I bet you we probably in our time in Zionsville, if not every Christmas or every Easter or every Thanksgiving, 9 out of 10, we went to Honey Baked to your store. I bet. You got to go early. You got to go early if you're going to order on Thanksgiving or Christmas because it's a popular place.
Open at 10 a.m. and usually there's a line.
I have to tell you this. When I make myself a honey baked ham sandwich, I'll actually, they have brown sugar.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah. Oh,
that
yeah. The crispy,
icing,
the best part of
the
it.
glaze.
Yeah.
I'll take a piece of that sugar and put it on the sandwich
Yeah, you got to.
and with
Yeah.
the honey baked
That's a good idea.
ham and with the mustard.
Yeah.
Honey-
And the rest of your family's pissed at you because you took the
Well,
best part of the
stuff.
ham. Yeah.
You took the good stuff. What are you doing?
Also want to thank Stockyards Bank and Trust. Location 71st in Binford, Carmel, downtown Indianapolis, Plainfield, Greenwood. Center Grove's coming. Whitestown is coming.
Mhm.
They're going to take over the world.
Klopp used to, or he can memorize this.
We got it right there.
He got it right here.
Well, I got
You're supposed to say, get ready.
Yeah.
Center Grove, get ready.
Get ready. Well, so Center Grove, we have not. I expect that we're going to be there for the ribbon cutting, and they have not told us exactly.
Maybe they've already opened.
I'm worried about that. That we might have got
Talking to Paul lately?
I have not talked to Paula lately. I probably have to do that.
Keep the checks coming.
Yeah, we are coming to you this week from Ale Emporium. Thanks, Ale Emporium, for
We are
hosting.
so happy to be here.
We are happy to be here.
The
Tonight's
pizza.
atmosphere.
Oh.
So we are in the new
What did you have
room.
for lunch today?
I had the chicken parm sandwich.
Oh,
Delicious.
the best.
It was the best. So thank you for asking, Jim. So now let's get back to our guest.
Outkick has his show has something called last.
Yeah,
Last.
that's last thing. Yeah.
It was you see people try to have these. We try to have these kind of gimmicks as well. But where did that come from?
I'm not very smart with those things. So it came from our team. We have a team of guys. They're located in the Fox building in New York City, and the other guys are located in Nashville.
Well, you have a gift for gab.
Yeah,
Keep going on and on.
like 15 years. You know that you can do it. But one of the things that I like about Outkick is we can get political. Talk
Yeah.
radio, sports radio. People sometimes they get. One of the things I've learned, and you know this, when you're a politician. Well, Jim always does this, or Jim never does this, right? It's always or never, right?
Yeah.
So if I say something, and politics has come into sports, let's be honest. If I say something one time, 1 second, Dakich is always political. I used to listen to him, but it's so political.
But you wanted to run for mayor at one.
I do. I want to run for something, but
Jake
Outkick is
Query does
political.
too.
Yeah. Okay.
We
might know people who can help put
don't
that up.
have the answers, right? Everybody's got the answers. But Outkick allows me to be political. It is a combination, and it's a conservative lean place, which fits me.
Yeah.
But one of the things I like about it, and this is, as you guys know, this is rare in politics. It is either you agree with me and you're an ass for agreeing, if the other side, or you don't agree with me and you're an ass because you don't agree with me. And one of the things I like about Outkick is if Clay Travis, who runs the thing, says something and I disagree with, they'll put it in the rundown and I can say why. And I like that. I get it. People say, well, you're not liberal, so you're crazy. Even my brother called me, well, you far right. I go, hey, dude. I go, you know the difference between a far right conspiracy and the truth is? And he looked at me, I go, about 3 weeks. I go, we'll figure it out. But it's kind of fun to be able to do that.
Yeah.
The
freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can talk about, well, IU sucks or IU's great or IU do it, but it's nice to be able to express. I'm a guy, and I'm sure you guys were like this, but when I was a kid, I read the paper cover to cover. I was a very scared kid. Like I was scared. Northwest Indiana, our neighborhood, we got broken into. I didn't live in a tough neighborhood, but a little girl got murdered in a lot behind. I would read the paper to see where the closest crimes were, but I read it cover to cover. In fact, I think I was 13 and I decided, well, why am I waiting on the paper? I should just be the paper boy. So I was a paper boy in our neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And on Sundays and Saturdays and Sundays, I read 3 papers. I read the Chicago Tribune, the Sun-Times, and the Gary Post Tribune cover to cover.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what I like.
Yeah.
So I don't pretend to be outside my realm, but I do pay attention.
When I started reading the paper, I was born in '59, and I started reading the paper when the Vietnam War was going on.
Okay, yeah.
And they would have Reds on the front page, and it wasn't the Cincinnati version.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, yes. Yes. I remember. And so I don't act like I no pop, but I pay attention. And if you pay attention and you're somewhat informed and I feel like, all right, but I'm with you. The first time I remember the news, well, I don't know how old I was, born in 62. I remember the news being this many died, right? The number of deaths. Every night there was a death. I'm like,
There's a all over the country
Yeah.
that's about it.
like okay. And I was after the draft, but I remember like it was yesterday. We had to go to the post office to sign up, and my way of thinking is, wait a second, if I'm signing up, that means somebody on the other end could,
Right. Yeah,
accept
there was
my
a person.
sign up, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
it was definitely a
it's
tipping
different.
point. No
Yeah.
question about it.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite thing about growing up in Northwest Indiana? And I will say this: I spent a year living in Griffith.
Oh
So,
yeah.
which
Calumet Township.
yeah, Calumet, yes.
My dad was a principal at Calumet High School, right there next to the Mansons.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't, but and you take it for granted because you're from there. But looking back, I'm like, man, I was lucky to be around people that kind of weren't afraid to speak their mind and had opinions, and it wasn't bullshit. Like, you know, guys in our neighborhood. I'm trying to think. Mr. Melham, they had a little money, but mill worker. My dad was a teacher. Mill worker.
Now, was this Maryville,
Merritt.
Hammond?
It was Maryville. It was kind of funny. You're a little kid. I was probably 10 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
Our address was 1620 West 54th Avenue, Gary, Indiana. And my mom said, "Hey, we changed our address." Did we move? 1620 West 54th Avenue, Maryville, Indiana, because Maryville had taken over from this train track to the train track behind our house, right? So imagine telling a 10-year-old, "Hey, you got a new address."
Yeah.
All right, I don't.
Yeah.
But the people there, I grew up in the area, and it's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine there. Like where I went was into Gary, Junedale, and it was Little League based, Lou Wallace High School, Little League. Whereas some of my friends who went to Andrea, and they would go into Maryville, Little League, that kind of. But the people there, again, I didn't know this. They're just straightforward, and to this day, I'm a member at. It used to be called the Gary Country Club. It's now called Innsbrook because Gary or Maryville didn't want to be named Gary Country Club. Listen, my brother and I are actually part owners because we couldn't belong. We caddied. But when I go there, I just have the best time because I don't know. It's just there's bullshit. If you're an idiot, they call you an idiot, and that's probably the best thing. I mean, it was cool. And at the time it was, we lived in a great neighborhood and great little league. And
Now, at what time you wanted to go? You were thinking about going to Purdue.
well, Purdue,
Gene Katie.
yeah. When Coach and I was going to go to Indiana, but I thought about Katie came to my house when he first got there, and I really fell in love with him. Like,
How could you not?
yeah. But my brother was at Wabash at the time, and he goes, "No, you don't understand." He goes, "You go to Indiana because the whole state is Indiana." And I was going there anyway. I told Coach Knight I was going there, but I had Norm Sloan from Florida. Who else?
Norm Central High School.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Norman Monty Tao. Monty Tao was like a legend, right?
Yeah,
He comes
Oak Hill.
Oak Hill, right. He came into my house. I think Judd came into my house. Michigan came
Heathcote.
in. Yeah. And,
Wow.
But I was always going to Indiana because they offered me, and I said, yeah. But I just liked Katie. I'd gone to Purdue basketball camp because IU seemed like a million miles away. But my brother's like, no, you don't understand. Indiana, they just, they been undefeated in 76. This is 1980 before the 81. And I'm like, you're right. And a couple of my friends said, well, why don't you go to, Butler wasn't very good then, and why don't you go to Butler? You're going to play. And my thought was always, well, probably, but I want to never say, yeah, but I was recruited by Pop Nut. Yeah, but I was recruited by Indiana. If you're going to challenge yourself, challenge yourself.
Yeah, this is why Caden Curry plays for Ohio State football, not IU.
Is that right? Yeah, you want challenge?
Center Grove, yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
that's why that's why
Yeah.
the big players go to the big schools.
Yeah. And, it was like, I don't know if I'd have played more at Purdue. I have no idea if I'd have played more at Butler, but I do know that, at that time, and whatever people think about Indiana, fine. But at that time, when I went there in the fall of 1981, they just won their second national championship. If you're going to go big, go home and figure it all out and hope, get to play.
It's ancient, and I know I'm dominating with the questions here, but it's always the ancient lore, and it's true about Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah.
You must get asked, and my father-in-law wouldn't let me
Get
off
the tally
stage.
board to add one more to it today.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's really
But
funny.
Did you get assigned?
Yeah, it's really funny. Like, I people ask me about that all the time,
Yeah.
even now, and I'm like, and somebody said, "Well,
It's history.
you're just known. You're living off one thing, beating Michael Jordan." And I said, "You know what? That's a pretty good thing to be living."
There's not many guys that can claim that.
A friend of mine actually, I stole his line. We were somewhere, and a buddy of mine named Brian Pillar, funniest dude I know, best friend in high school, went to Valpo. He would come down and get. We were somewhere in Northwest Indiana. Someone was giving me some shit, right? Oh, you only did one thing, stop Michael Jordan. And he said it. He goes, well, if you only did one thing, that's a hell of a thing to be known for, right? And I've always used that. Yeah, I got assigned 3 hours, but I was sick. I was like puking sick. And I wasn't going to tell Coach Knight. And yeah, I wanted to play because it wasn't hard for him to bench me. So but it was interesting. We beat them, and it's a big deal. And all right, they were the #1 team in the country. And Knight had shown us an article about North Carolina, even though they had one loss, might be the best team in the history of college basketball. And we're like, bullshit. Indiana 75-76. It's the best. UCLA guys would say, Walton, Jabbar, that's so we beat them, and looking back, this is kind of stupid. And we celebrated, and we knew what we had done. But guy in the media asked me and Alfred and I at the press conference, and he goes, well, it was a huge upset. And I go, wait a second. I go, we're Indiana. I go, we expect to beat Carolina. I mean, 3 years earlier, they had beaten Carolina in the national championship game. I go, that's what you come to Indiana to do, right? And I catch a lot of shit now from Indiana people because that's kind of the standard. I always say if a team that I was on and the captain of could beat Michael freaking Jordan, Indiana ought to be able to beat anybody. But that's kind of the standard, and that's kind of the way we were. I'll never forget. We had beaten. This is something that coaches do. Great coaches. We had beaten Richmond, and they had a great player, Johnny Newton, played in the NBA for 20 years. We had beaten them in a tough game in Charlotte. And we get home, and Knight gave us the rest of the day off. We weren't playing again till like Thursday or Friday. We weren't going to have a meeting till Sunday night. So we're like, great, hanging out, whatever. And we go in Sunday night, and Knight was famously late. Like Isaiah Thomas one time, Knight was so late, Isaiah Thomas was leaving. The Sunday night meetings were legendary for Knight being late. Chuck Franz, who played with me, would keep a ledger on how late Knight was. So we had a Sunday meeting supposed to start at 6. Knight might get there at like 6:35, and he would keep this ledger. And one year when Chuck was there, it was 24 hours of him being late for different things. But anyway, Knight comes in and the door closes, and he says, it was spring break. He goes, I want every effing manager, every trainer, every doc, whatever, in this locker room right now. And so, of course, everybody's in there. He closed the door. And he goes, I'm just going to tell it. And this wasn't for show. He goes, I'm just going to tell you all right now. Anybody in this meeting right now on this Sunday night that doesn't think we're going to beat North Carolina's ass, get up and get the out of here right now. And if you stay in this locker room, then we are going to do everything that we can do from this moment. Everything you do, where you sleep, you eat, blah, blah, to beat Carolina. And then he said other thing, he told us how. And by the time we left that half-hour meeting, I remember I told Alfred, I go, man, I don't know if we're going to win, but I'll tell you what, we're going to be ready. I guarantee, and that's the way Coach was. And that's, I get criticized for Indiana people because I think that's the expectation Indiana should have.
Yeah, exceptional.
So
now we lost to Virginia.
It was my fault too. I fucked it up. Excuse my language. And I think about it. 40 years ago, we're up 1.
Yeah.
With a minute 18 to go, and I spun dribble. Kid stole it from me, and I'm screaming at all.
Carlisle?
No, it was Carlisle missed the free throw. Gave us a chance.
Carlisle played for that team.
Yeah. Kid named Kent Needland. He went and laid it in. And I'm screaming at Alfred to foul him because I knew he was a 30% free throw shooter. Now, a lot of Indiana fans blame me, nobody more so than myself, but I did come back to hit a jump shot with about 30 seconds to go, and Stu missed a shot. But this is the way the world is. People,
Stu Robinson?
Yeah. this is the way I think, and this is a bad way to go through life. Like people bring up Michael Jordan. I don't ever think about that. I swear to God, guys, every night, every day for 40 years, I've thought about that turnover at some point in the day. I was telling this story. There are 4 games in my life. We lost the high school state final in 1980. I will tell people, and nobody can prove me wrong on this because it's opinion. The 1980 afternoon state final. It was us, New Albany, Marion, and Broadville. We lost. My friend Mike Paulson, who turned out to be a CEO, he got fouled with no time on the clock. We're down 1. We had been down 15. I got hot as hell. And we're down 1. Mike gets fouled, 2 shots, no time on the clock. He missed them both. And then Marion ties the game in the afternoon against Broad Ripple, but somehow Marion calls timeout. Stacy Turan hits a 57-foot shot. Those games were back to back.
Is that a Cole Scott, Marion?
No, he was in 76. Okay. This was Jeff Todd was their guy.
Okay.
But I tell people there's 4 losses in my life that I think about every day.
Mm-hmm.
And those are 2. And then when I was coaching Indiana, a kid named Hoffaver hit a shot at the buzzer to beat us in the Big Ten tournament in Indy. And then earlier we had lost a game. I don't think about those 2 as much. We had lost a game because DJ White, we're up 3, somehow decides to foul a guy. I don't understand, whatever. But I tell people, like, I don't ever think about it. Like in the MAC, we won the championship there my 3rd year, first time they'd done it in 40 years, beat North Carolina, whatever, win the Big Ten title. I never think about that. This is where coaching sucks. You think about the losses, and that loss to Virginia, or the loss where my buddy Mike Paulson missed the free throw. I swear to God, the Virginia thing, I've thought at some point every day for 40-some years.
Have you ever talked to Carlisle about that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
We had hair back then.
We both
So did you?
Yeah, we were had some men. Ken Edelin died, and he was an unbelievable guy, lawyer. And he said, Rick called me, and he goes, hey, he goes, we were and we were talking about Kent and his steel, and he goes, I want to tell you that every guy that you have met on that team spoke so highly of you. But he did got to tell you, we did thank you for the turnover, by the way, and but
Was Coach Terry Holland that good?
Holland, he was good that day.
No, man, he was a good coach.
He's a great coach.
Yeah.
I mean, he took that. That was the first year Ralph Sampson had left, and they went to the final. Yes. They had beaten Syracuse with Pearl Washington, and then they beat us. And he was terrific.
Are you surprised Kelvin Sampson's had so much success at Houston, or is he just that good a fundamental coach?
I thought he was a subpar coach. Like Matt Painter and I were talking, and he's like, okay, Sampson is great. I go, maybe I was spoiled, but he couldn't. But one thing he could do, and I'm sure he's developed, he could get guys to really play hockey.
So he developed like Katie.
Yeah, he was a lot like Katie. Yeah, he
defense.
was. Now Katie was different. Katie ran. I always said, and Matt was on my show today. We didn't really talk about it, but normally we do. Katie ran better motion offense at the end of his career against Coach Knight than we were running. And I remember I said that to Coach once. I go, look, I don't know what we're doing, but we're not doing as well. And I mean, my man got pissed off at me. He got so pissed. I think you should work at Purdue. I work at Purdue, but I'm just telling you, they've taken everything you're doing or we're doing,
they're killing you,
and they're killing us. Like, we got to figure this out, right? But it was.
Very few people could tell Coach Knight.
It survived.
It survived.
Yeah, I did it once. See, I punched him. Had to. He hit me.
You and Ron, huh?
Ron got punched by Coach. I never told anybody. I was scared to death. We had lost it to Paul, and Charlie Miller was in the wrong spot. And after a timeout, I had put Charlie in the wrong spot. And so Coach, in the locker room after this, right before, what the hell are you doing? And Charlie looks at me and goes, Coach Dakich, move me. And I'm like, oh, this ain't going to go good, right? So
you fess up.
Oh yeah, I mean, we went in the room next, and he's screaming at me, and I said, Coach, he's right. So we go home for Christmas, come back, and we're in practice. And I have the video of this. He walks by me and he hits me, drills me, and I'll say nothing. I'm like, all right. But he's in this little room next to our locker room. I'll tell you why I didn't tell anybody, not even my wife, not even my brother. He's in this room, and I walk in there and I said, Coach, I'll turn in my resignation, whatever you want, but you're never hitting me again. And if you ever put your hands on me, I'm gonna knock you out in front of on practice. And he looked at me, and I could tell he stands up to come at me, and I drilled him right here because I know he was a cheap shot guy. I know what he was doing, so I drilled him, and he went back and hit him right here, just below the throat, and I hit him as hard as I could. And he's a big guy, right? And he got his ass knocked back into this red couch. And I looked at him. I said, "Look, I'll go resign now." And I did, and I went home. And my wife was like, "You all right?" I go, "Yeah, I'm fine." I didn't want, because Knight was the most vindictive, horrible human when it came to things like that. And so I thought I was going to get arrested. I thought I did. I thought I was going to jail. I know how he operated. I know those cops in Bloomington. If he would have called me and said, "Look, Dakich punched me," and so I'm scared to death. I'm going to be arrested. I'm scared to death. I'm going to get fired. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to go in the office like there's nothing. And I did, and never came up. He never put his hands on me again. But I never told a soul until a few years ago.
Well, maybe Wisman should have done that.
That's a little tough on the court. I mean, you got, but, yeah, that's a little tough. Yeah, he grabbed me. Mike Lewis did. Mike Lewis.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was at the game when Mike Lewis challenged him.
we asked him about that today on our show, and Mike, yeah, I'd lost my mind. I said, all right. Yeah.
He had more hair then too.
Mike had a lot more hair. That's right. Yeah, something about being in Indiana.
Yeah, not just there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So, a couple questions. We're going way long,
Oh,
but that's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
No,
I'm
you
sorry.
did fantastic. Oh, we could go 2 more hours, and I love it, but I know you got stuff to do. So, one, back when you played at IU, Big Ten had a round robin.
Yes.
You played everybody
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
I missed that,
I do too.
which it's hard to do with 18 teams
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And then obviously Purdue and IU play tomorrow. What are your fondest memories or memories of playing against Purdue?
I get hit by that point. I did. My best memory was my freshman year. I started, and my teammate, my high school teammate Jimmy Bullock, started for Purdue, and his first,
I haven't heard that name in 20 years.
yeah, first time I ever got a standing ovation. I played well, got a blocked Kevin Stallings shot. I had 2 block shots in my career. One was his, and when I fouled out with a couple minutes to go, we were up 20. I got a standing ovation. And I remember thinking, oh, that's kind of cool, right? I mean, hell, all right. And then my junior, I can't remember if it was my junior or senior year up there. I got my 4th foul in the first half. And I asked Coach Knight later, why the hell did you leave me in? He goes, you don't make free throws anyway. I wasn't going to play in the second half. I wanted to get up I was playing well. And I'm coming off the court, and the crowd is on me, like screaming, and I get hit by some things, and I look, and there's some coins. And I picked up, I don't know, about 5 coins, and it was 75 cents. And I looked at Alfred on the bench going to halftime. I go, hey, 75 cents, get you a Coke or a beer or something, right? And I looked at him, I go, hey, man, yeah, 75 cents. And he started laughing. I think it was Alfred. We just running. My best memory, though, is this. I'm a freshman. We're going to play at Purdue. And Ted Kitchell and Randy Whitman were all Americans. And Randy was like the best looking guy in the world. All the girls loved him, right? So there's only one tunnel to get onto Mackey Arena. There's a tunnel, right?
Yeah.
So we're coming on for the shoot around the night before, and the Boiler Babes are coming off. And the best looking woman, other than my 2 wives and my sister and my sister-in-law and whatever.
You've only got one wife.
Well, I got yeah, right. And every guy in Northwest Indiana and at Purdue at the time will tell you her name, and they will all say it, Heather Hadley. Heather Hadley legitimately looked like a combination of Bo Derek and Farrah Fawcett, and she lived on the beach in Ogden Dunes up in Northwest Indiana. Everybody knew Heather Hadley's name. She was dating my cousin, Mark Droback, who was an All-American football player in high school. He went to Purdue. So Heather, I didn't know she knew me. She's coming off the court. I'm walking on with Whitman. And all of a sudden, the most beautiful girl in like the world comes running up Danny gives me this hug, and I'm like, you ever see the movie Sandlot?
Yeah.
I'm like squints in Sandlot when the lifeguard. I'm looking at Whitman going, right? Hey, Danny, are you guys staying tonight? Hey, after the game, if you got or tonight, if you guys want to come over, having a sorority party, blah blah. I go, yeah, Heather, I got a game, right? She goes, well, you guys staying Saturday? I go, Heather, no, we got to go back.
And we'll drive back up here.
Whitman, yeah, right. Whitman looked at me like, you? I go, that's right, big boy. That's right. So that's Purdue was fun, but those are my good and bad memories I get.
I love it. I am looking forward to the day where both Purdue and IU can pull it together in the same season. The basketball in this state is better when both teams are good.
And Notre Dame's coming on too. They got a great coach.
They've started winning some lately.
Yeah,
So
they got the kid coming from Fishers, Harrison.
Mhm.
And so Purdue and Notre Dame and hopefully IU basketball will all be good. And Purdue's got a good football coach. So maybe we'll have really 3 good programs in the state of Indiana, both football and basketball.
Yeah, I'm going to game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. It's funny. Last year, the trainer, Matt Painter's trainer, I got him the job with Matt. He was my trainer bowling. He's the greatest dude ever. Love the kid. So last year, I usually from Chris Foreman get a couple media passes. And 2 years ago, my buddy and I were just drinking beers on press row. And so I called Chris last year. He goes, hey, Dan, I'll get you the passes, but you can't be drinking beers on press row. I was with Sasha Stefanovic's dad and Cardinal and Brad Miller, and we were drinking Boiler or whatever those beers are, and I just took him to our seat on press row, right? But this year, a friend of mine, we're going to go, and last year when I walked on the court to see my friend, the trainer, I was stunned. Like, man, if you were going to line up this team and this team and say, okay, this team is the number 1 or 5, whatever Purdue was in the country, you would point to Indiana. I mean, they look so much bigger. And then, of course, there's the monster Edie, right? And then Indiana gets beat by 20. And I'm sure it's the same this year without Edie. Like, if you line them up, the length, the size, you got Renault, you got Bala, you got Mbakma, who are all so big and long, and even Galloway's 6'5". Yeah. But Purdue's going to play the brakes off. I hope it's a good game, but it stunned me last year. It really stunned me, guys. Like, on the court, how big Indiana was. Okay, Purdue's I'm not saying that, but the difference was really stark. And Painter just does a great job, and hopefully Indiana can compete tomorrow.
Yeah. They're all good kids.
Painter's did a great job. And the one thing, Purdue and Michigan State, the thing that they have in common, both of them have in common, they basically had the continuity of coaches.
That's right.
For 40 plus
That's
years. Right. And I think that goes a long way.
Very fundamentally strong.
Yeah. And you know what? I always talk. I remember when I was the head coach in Indiana, we get beat by Arkansas, and I talked about culture. I said, look, this is a horrible culture. We've got to get this straight, and we've got to get to where everybody that comes to Indiana is the best at what they do. If you're going to work for me, you're going to be the best assistant coach in the country, or don't come here. If you're going to play, you have one goal, and that's to win a national championship. If I'm going to be the coach, or don't come here. Because the culture with Sampson was drugs and stupidity and idiocy, and former players were met. And,
it must have been really hard.
it was ridiculous. It was just, it was like, it was just really, I sat in meeting when I first got there. I left Bowling Green and I was either going to Arizona State or Indiana, and Sampson offered me, so I'm going to come to Indiana. And I'm sitting there. I get there after all the NCAA stuff. I didn't know. Like, I get there in, like, I don't know, mid-June.
You're talking about West Virginia or at IU?
No, West Virginia. Both, actually. But at IU, I'm there, and all of a sudden, the dress code is like what you and I are wearing. Like, there was no dress code with Sampson. Jeans, whatever. All of a sudden, Sampson, Ray McCollum, Rob Senderoff, the assistants are in suits, and they're coming off the road. So finally, the guy who was in my office with me, we had office together, was Jeff Meyer. And I go, okay. I close the door. I go, what is going on?
Is that the guy that was up in Michigan? Crean
Crean was an idiot for that. Jeff Meyer had nothing to do with it. In fact, Crean was stupid. He was doing that for the television. But I asked Meyer, I go, what's going on? He goes, you don't know? I go, no. I just got here 3 weeks ago. He goes, oh, we're under investigation. I go, no, what, for Sampson doing that stupid stuff at Oklahoma? He goes, no. They did the same stupid stuff here. I go, wait a sec. And Jeff said at the time, he goes, about mid-year, you'll be the head coach there. I go, what are you talking about? I just get there and we're like, it's up and coming. And then so I go to see the compliance lady. I go, hey, look, I don't know nothing. What? And she laid it out for me. I go, what? Because I couldn't believe anybody would be that arrogant or that stupid, depending on how you want to go back, to do the same stupid stuff you did at Oklahoma and bring it to Indiana. But he did.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and I remember having a meeting with Samson going, you did this. He goes, yeah, I didn't have cell service at my house. So I'm like, all right. Hey, I go, hey, look, I remember telling him, I go, lie all you want to me. I go, hey, I'll help you. Because at that time it was in the NCAA's hands. Yeah. It was amazing, though. You do the same stupid stuff. Anyways, you guys, I've kept you too long.
No, you have not. I appreciate it. However, we will wrap up the show. But before we do that, see if I can. Dan, you know how bad it is when you get old and your eyes start going. And
I got floaters, baby. I got it all. I got things going around here right now in my right eye.
Oh my gosh!
I'm like,
by the way, we did that. When are you going to get a beer named after you, like Gene Katie did?
a beer?
Yeah.
I have a sandwich named after me at a place called Lugs or something up north.
Okay, that's a start.
I don't think I have a beer. Oh, I did actually. The guys, you'll know them, the Som family doesn't like me.
Oh yeah.
And Big Lug has a beer, Dakich Tears. I think it's supposed to be a shot at me.
Oh.
But I don't know. I went in there one time, all the beers were warm, and I said it on my show, so they got all mad. I go, I don't. And so I think it's a shot, but I got a beer named after me, Dakich Tears at Big Lug.
However you get there.
However you get there.
If they send you checks for a nickel at a time.
They aren't doing that.
That's
they
unfortunate.
should.
That's unfortunate. So you've been watching Merritt in the Morning with our guest, Dan Dakich. We've been at Ale Emporium in Castleton. Thank you very much, Ale Emporium, for being fantastic hosts and letting us do this from your new room. Want to thank Stockyards Bacon Trust, location 71st and Binford, Carmel, downtown Indianapolis, Plainfield, Greenwood, maybe Center Grove.
No,
it
says get
says,
ready.
I put get ready on it.
Oh, you
I
did.
made
All
this
right.
slide because I haven't heard the update that it's open yet.
Oh, I
So,
got you.
I told you we're a low tech.
We
We get in and out. We want to also thank the Honey Baked Ham Company and the Kalb family. Mike Kalb is here with us today. They have their new California veggie sandwich and their new chef salad. So they are open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. I think they're open like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So eat in, carry out.
That's the owner.
Okay.
He's making obscene gestures here.
Well,
He's making obscene gestures here.
I wanted you on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
let me get rid of
Why?
this.
Ale Emporium.
Get him out of here.
There he is.
Hey, how about you just dropping a big check on me for our Dakich cycles for the city?
And
You know how we do.
I'm Jim Merritt.
Scott, how are you?
Scott, you know Scott?
Yes.
Last name?
Vaughn, B-A-U-N.
Owner
There
of
he
Ale
is.
Emporium.
Come see him. If you have
We
a
are.
problem,
That's it.
come see him. If you don't like something, come see him. Hey, they got a suggestion box. Write suggestion.
Yeah, text.
Thank you.
Good seeing you, my brother. Thanks, brother.
All right. Thanks all
perfect.
for watching. This
Yeah.
has been lots of fun.
Yeah.
So we'll be back in a couple of weeks with something probably not quite as good as this, but we'll try to make it fun regardless. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, man. Appreciate you having me.
You too.